Hello, everyone. Today I would like to invite you and I would like to tell you a story about sexism. So I consider myself, as well as many speakers today, really a curious person. So I tend to ask questions during my life. And going back into my personal life, into my personal history, I understood and I realized that there were points in my life when I didn't ask some really important questions, actually. It just didn't cross my mind. And then at one day, I still started to think about where is the place for me? Where do I want to work? What would be my career in life? And we all come across those questions. But then, at some point, I got to ask as well a question, do I belong in a man's world? Do I belong in a very masculine industry, for example? And as well, I needed to ask, what is normal? So to answer those questions to myself, first of all, and to discuss with my family and my colleagues, I considered that I have to go back and check out how the history actually affected how the society thinks, how we interact between each other. So here is a timeline. It's a rough timeline, but to give an impression. First industrial revolution was the one which actually come together with the division of labor. So that was a time when children and women got hired to work in factories as well, not only men. During the times, of course, women noticed that work is heavy, it's hard, and from time to time they noticed, of course, the wages are low and conditions are not so good for working for industries, for fabrics and factories. So that was the wave of feminism that came in. Years passed by. Next industrial revolution came in. And after the feminism wave, men took on more heavy jobs. They took on as well more heavy lifting jobs and so on. Because since women don't lift weights, men don't cry. They just do their jobs. And further on, I would want to show you the timeline of 1924, which is our local example. It is a factory, Vulcans in Kuldīga. It is a factory of match production, lightweight product of wood. And for women, it was totally, we would say, easy. No problem, no heavy lifting. Problem solved. During the years also, the wage problem get better and better. But there was other issue. It was quite toxic all over the world. It was toxic to work for a match factory. And of course, women again stood for their rights. They were seeking for the change in the work environment. And next feminism wave came in, and between the second and third, my mother and I was born. And the Industrial Revolution went on. It came till today, till fourth and fifth coming in. It's no more heavy work for women or men. It's much easier, it's much cleaner, it's much better. But still, if we look for statistics, people don't choose to go for the industry quite often, and for women, even less. But let's go into a little bit of my personal experience, my timeline, my history, how it all affected me, how the society affected me. So I was born in 1983, Soviet Union. It was empty store shelves, permanent shortage of household goods. People really witnessed it quite heavy, lines and everything. And for private individuals, it wasn't possible to earn an enterprise or to hire people. We were all hired. Oh, not we, not me, but my parents, my grandparents. They experienced that they depend on the system. Time passed by, and I started to ask myself the questions about my career. Where do I belong? What do I want to do? And let's be honest, some movies made an impact on me, totally. I was wishing to go for an army. I wanted to go for architecture. Very masculine industries at that time, totally. And unfortunately, I was the person, I did experience sentences that is not for girls. Army, no, not for girls. Or I couldn't make it. It would be hard for me, or something like that. Of course, it affected me and my decision. So at the end, finally, 2001, I went to Riga Strategic University. Sorry, Artaru. Yes, I went for public relations. I thought that I fit there. I was doing school newspaper, so okay, it should fit me. Not an army, unfortunately. Interesting is that at the same time, 2001, was established also the Association Latvian Furniture. So timeline goes in parallel. Years went on, and 2012, guess what? I still ended up in very masculine industry. I'm a very curious person, and probably I like the environment of working in very masculine industry. Who knows the reasons how it happened, but one of the reasons totally for sure, I met my magic mate. And she believed in me and she said, you can do it. And I said, okay, fine, I'll go for it. And I started to work for forest industry. I started to work for forest industry representative organization, Latvian Forest Industry Federation. Very serious organization, very serious industry. And I assure you, it is stable. It is long-term relationship. I'm still there. So, and that was the time when timber entered my life. And I would say it symbolically, that was the time when I actually started to ask the question, what is sexism? What do I really know about it? I was asking also myself, what do I know about stereotypes? How do I feel about that? And I didn't have those questions because it never before crossed my mind. My mother didn't talk about feminism, neither my grandma. So I needed to answer those questions. And don't get me wrong, forest industry is really cool industry. It's one of our top industries in Latvia. But somehow it matched for me personally that was the time when I just started to ask those questions. I started to notice some reactions, some phrases in society around me, and I just needed to answer those questions. And during the time, I did answer to myself, and most importantly, thanks to my colleagues, male colleagues, I just understood that I have to stop discriminate myself. I have to stop self-sabotage myself. And I just have to go for what I like, what I care about, and what I feel interested in. And I just went for it. And I went to my colleague, Andris Plezers, previously working there. He was going for his pension. I said, Andris, I want your job. So I just did. And actually, magically, thanks to Andris and many other men in industry who said, yes, you can do it. And I took the job. 2017, I started to work for the Furniture Industry Association, the one which just was established years ago when I just started my studies. So, what this story is really about? Is it really about sexism? Is it really about stereotypes which we meet during our day or our experience in work life? Well, yes, I cannot say that there isn't situations where you feel yourself maybe uncomfortable and you start to answer, is it really normal to ask me this or that, which sounds sexist? But that was not an issue for me. I just really need to answer to myself, what do I really want? What do I want to reach for? And I think that is the most important as well question for you, because who decides at the end? Totally, it's us. for ourselves. And it was mentioned already today from time to time. There is no one else, neither ones who said that it's not for girls, or neither ones who said that you cannot do it. You decide what you can do or not. So I ended up here in the association, in the middle, between a lot of men. And yeah, the most important thing, what I want to say, that it's not about a competition for women to beat men or any other way. The most important is to see that vacancies in companies should be filled based on performance and competence. And that is only thing what we have to seek in ourselves, because I tend sometimes to become emotional. Yes, I react maybe at some sentence or phrase, but then I come back to myself and I answer, was that really a problem? Maybe the answer lies completely different way. I just didn't want something or else. But for furniture industry, I totally knew I wanted, and I got it. And I gained my financial independence. Well, wages can be higher always, but still, I did get, and I get stable income, which I didn't have before, but that was really rewarding. And I know that there are growth opportunities for every one of us. Even for me, at the executive position, I still have some chances in my career. But other women, ladies, youngsters, they don't think that. And unfortunately, not too many women choose study in an industry, not in technical schools, not in higher schools. So how many of you study actually something with engineering or construction? How many women can raise the hands? Well, quite few, unfortunately. Not too many. And that is the answer. Here are also a few examples. Public schools don't offer carpentry for girls, neither even for boys anymore. Male-dominant education, industry presence in media is really weak. It's not so popular as sports or cooking. And of course, at the end, once again, lack of confidence. Many women firsthand would choose to go for retail, for beauty industry, and it's not wrong, it's not bad, it's fine. But for me, as a representative of industry, I would like to encourage, I would like to invite to actually at least consider that this is the place where you can find your place to work, where you can add some value for yourself. And so we did some campaign. We invited women and we filmed, we photographed them in industry. We asked how they feel. And believe me, that was magical. And many of them also met their magical mates. Was it their father? Was it their husband? Was it their friend or any other person? But they found their job, and some of the women work in industry for 10 years, like a long period. So what do they say about industry? They say, never once I felt different or disparaging attitude. So there are examples where male collectives can be really nice to women, and they can be inviting. So the woman feels comfortable, she feels invited into the company, and she wants to stay, she wants to belong. The other one says, woodworking and furniture production for me is really interesting. The lady in between, she works really long period and she does the same job and she's like satisfied with that. She says, I love to touch wood because I just love to touch it. And she gets some satisfaction from it. And at the result, she sees the final product and it gives more and more satisfaction. So I would like just all of you to answer for yourself to the questions: where do you belong? What do you want to reach in your life? are you ready to be in a male collect or not? And actually, that shouldn't be even a question. The question still should be, do you like the industry? And I invite you to explore, to seek for the opportunities, because vacancies are there, and decide on your own to come and work for the woodworking and furniture industry. And maybe we become colleagues one day, and maybe I'm not going to be anymore one in a big picture of man. Thank you for listening.